Go.
Jesus Christ.
Calamity's got the role. He's defending the role.
Yo,
Wait, hold on. What role is he
Christ.
defending?
I'm defending my title.
What title?
Okay, so
I rightfully,
He's a
Mercury, do you
supreme
want to judge?
chancellor.
Mercury, do you want to
I
judge?
rightfully earned.
Mercury, type in chat if you want to judge. Say,
Let's have Mono judge. Mono
Type
can do it.
All right.
ABC.
Wait,
Mercury said
wait.
that
You're
Mercury.
fine. Wait, Calamity, you're fine with Mercury judging?
I don't even know who that is, but I don't care.
Consensus tier 2 fanboy.
Let's have
Oh,
Mono do
fanboy.
it. Come on,
Of
guys.
course,
Mono
of
can
course.
do it. Come on,
Family.
Mono, bro.
Okay, so we have Mercury judging. Do you want me to give the argument against race realism?
I'll give the argument for it if you want. I don't really care.
Give the argument against it. So it's in formal syllogism or an instance of informal consequence. I was sending in chat.
Rizzhan, answer DMs, by the way.
Thank you, Figgy.
Don't interrupt.
This is jargon. This is okay. So it's literally just you're just taking a position that the evidence for it is false. Therefore, it's false. Why don't you just fucking say that?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that
That's
there's
literally what.
evidence.
That's literally what it is. It's like, oh,
That's
if
not
these
what
things are
I'm saying.
false,
Okay, you
if
just interrupted
these
me.
things
Nice.
are not, like, can I speak? Can I
No,
finish?
we're all we're just
It
saying is
literally just
that.
reads.
Wait, I don't know why you
Yeah.
interrupted. I don't know why you interrupted me.
I mean, you posted a syllogism. I'm trying to respond to it, but you're just cutting me off. But what this actually just reads
Okay,
is,
so
if this evidence is false, then it's false. If evidence is false, so it's false.
not what it's saying. I'm not saying that it's evidence. There's evidence it's false. I'm not saying that there's evidence it's false. Therefore, it's false. I'm saying that given that there is evidence it's false, and we have good reason to believe that it is false, which is a basic inference in abduction.
Wait, so your proof is okay? So I asked you for proof for against race realism, and your proof is a hypothetical. If it's false, then it's false. Can you just post the fucking evidence?
Wait, it's not wait, you think this syllogism is like a hypothetical? Like it's not a hypothetical syllogism. It has the conclusion that therefore we have good reason to believe that race realism is false, which is just a byproduct of the prior fact
Dude,
that there is
this is literally
mounting
all jargon.
evidence
Just post
against
the
race
evidence.
realism.
This doesn't debunk anything like at all. Just post the evidence.
I don't know what you mean by it doesn't debunk anything. Like if premise 1 and premise 2 is true, given the informal consequence or the informal inference, it would just follow that the conclusion is also true.
Yeah. So what this is based on is your evidence. Let's see the fucking evidence, dude.
Yes, so I'm guessing you just disagree with premise 2, because premise 1 is like it's quite trivial, but one sec.
Premise 1 is completely irrelevant. It's contingent on premise 2.
I think premise 1 is contingent on premise 2. Premise 1 is contingent on premise 2.
Yes, dude. You're saying if this thing is true, then it would lead to this conclusion, and the premise 2 just justifies.
No, that's not how hypotheticals work. The
The
hypothetical can be
dude,
true,
holy
and the
fucking
antecedent
shit.
be.
Post the fucking
Wait one
evidence.
sec. Oh my god. Wait, okay. 1 sec. Okay.
Would you like to post the evidence,
hypothetical can
son?
be true. Wait 1 sec. The hypothetical can be true, and the antecedent and consequent in the hypothetical be false, and the hypothetical still be true. And given that in the hypothetical, the consequent just relevantly is implied from the antecedent.
Nigga,
So
wow, dude,
the
you know
hypothetical
big
can still be
words.
true,
Let's
just
see the
doesn't matter.
evidence.
Well,
Wow,
no,
dude,
I'm
you're
just
a great
pointing out the claim
meta-debater.
that you
Let's see
made.
the
I'm just
evidence.
pointing out the claim that you made is idiotic. Like it's just false.
Dude,
But
you're an
I just
amazing
said the evidence.
meta-debater. No, let's see this evidence.
It's not. It's not meta debating. It's a claim that you made about the argument.
Do you want to
This
start?
guy's an idiot. Yeah, I'm gathering pieces of statistics that I have and the piece of studies I have. 1 sec.
You said.
I'll send them all in scan. I take quite a bit because one by modus tolerance. It's not modus tolerance, by the way. Just to clear that up. In fact, Ilichi says informal consequence, but whatever. Like,
Are you gonna start the debate now, or are you just gonna keep yapping?
I just told you that I'm getting the evidence. I'm going to post it in scans. Like, I'm getting the literal studies that you want me to get. Like, be patient. Jesus Christ. There's a lot of evidence.
Go ahead and tell me the early life of those scientists.
Tell me the race, the race and ethnicity of those scientists, and if they're Jewish, we're gonna dismiss them.
I'm just gonna ignore that.
That was obviously a joke, but okay.
Yeah, hence why I said I'm going to ignore it. Like Jesus Christ.
You're such a serious person, dude. Do you have friends, by the way? It's just a question. It's not relevant to the debate.
I'm also going to ignore that because it's pretty clear that I have friends, whatever.
I guess. Do you get invited to parties or anything?
Yes.
It's just a question. I'm superior race. I lynch. No, I'm just kidding. Who the fuck is this dude? Okay. I don't agree with the KKK stuff being posted in chat. I'm not a racist, okay?
You probably are, whatever.
Not a racist. Future friends.
Probably are. Okay.
Are you black? Just ask for debate.
I am black, yes.
Let's go.
Scans, and I have more. 1 sec.
Am I Muslim? No.
No, if you look, yeah. I'm just said check scans, I have more.
Oh Lord.
Like, more evidence.
What are these relevances that love like everything posted? What are they? What is
Okay,
each of them?
so, well, they're just relevant to they're just relevant to the thesis of race realism. Heck,
What
race
do they
realism,
justify?
yeah, it's going to be justifying that there is a mounting amount of empirical evidence against race realism, like scientific and empirical evidence.
Okay.
And then like read, if you have to like go into like the links and read them, like they'll present considerations against there being like a natural kind which you can group races into, or we can like say that certain people fit into like these certain categories which are races, which race realism hinges on. Like it proves things about it proves that certain aspects of how we think about heritability and misconceptions, right? So how we think about like genetic differences and genetic variations between races and between populations are actually flawed, and they actually just demonstrate that it's not the case that we can, create these certain natural kinds, which we can then say that certain people fit into certain races.
Okay. For the first study, it just says that they're like close to like a similar level. It's not like they're like 100% the same, but even if it's like a non-significant level, I think that there's like multiple studies that I can show you, and like correlations and stuff that I can show you that just prove that they're not like significant in terms of like what's it called, like species or anything. They're just different in terms of the same way like a pug is like a pug and a German Shepherd, or they're different. They're like different things
That's
within the
just
same.
not. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's just.
Sorry,
I
I'm
mean,
not.
unless like you're trying to make some, unless you're
Dude,
trying to make some like analogy between like the
dude,
dog breeds and human races, that's
you're
just
just
not
not
true.
letting me speak. You posted 4 things. You're not gonna let me speak. Let me actually like look at this. Once I'm done speaking, can you like summarize the 18-page document? The third one's not even valid. It says page not found. I don't know what this third one is. Probably
Use like
just,
this VPN.
is that the third one's like it's not a valid like source anymore. Apparently, it says page not found, but background please. What does the fourth one even justify? What can you like run me through the 18-page document? Just like give like the cliff notes of the
Yeah, it's
document
just
and
supposed to be supporting the evidences about genetic variation, right? So
yeah, I
whereas like
understand
race
that.
realism would try, yeah, whereas race realism would try to say that like the reason why we can group races into natural kinds and group people into natural kinds is because of these like vast non-accidental genetic differences which are discrete between like certain parts of the population. We can come to the conclusion that like races exist, whereas like this evidence surrounding like how genetics ties in with contractions of diseases and stuff like that actually proves that no, you can't actually do this. Like it's invalid to do this based on how genetics actually work.
Okay, well that's just okay. I don't think that that's like relevant. They can have like blood or whatever, like different types of like diseases or whatever. That's not like relevant. It's the same way that like I'll post the website for what I'm speaking about as well. It's the same source as yours. Whenever I read the first one, I already understand the first one. It's just saying they're like 99 or like I think it was like 98 or 99% like similar levels. That still means there's still like a genetic difference between the two. And then
But you need more for race realism. You need more for race realism than just genetic difference. Again, like you need to
I know
hold that.
that's what I'm gonna
these-
do.
Yeah,
No,
you need. Yeah, you
sure.
need more.
I think, well, do you
So, like,
want physical
like
difference?
trivially, there's genetic differences between races, but there are also genetic differences in between races and between populations, which we clarify or like we classify as the same quote unquote race.
I don't
So like
think
there
that's
being like some level of genetic differences based on like for example adaptation to certain environments doesn't mean like for example you brought up like the dog breed analogy, which is just false because dog breeds like are much more different in their alleles, which is a part of your DNA, in their alleles than like human races are. Like human races barely have any variation in alleles, whereas dog breeds have like much more variation in
I
alleles
don't
than
think wait, they don't have
human races.
they're not wait, why do you think they don't have this much different DNA from things? That's just not true. They're both still the exact they're still the same species and whatever. Like immunities and whatever.
And nobody's saying that
Even if you're
every
saying,
DNA is
okay,
vastly.
can I
Nobody's saying
finish my
that
speech?
DNA is vastly
Can
different.
can I finish
I
whatever?
said that the alleles.
For
I said that
whatever,
the
for whatever.
alleles
Okay, I know what
have a
you said. I
large
know
amount
what you
of
said.
variation.
Yeah. I'm just gonna speak over you, Bob. For what you said, even if you admit that
Speak
there's like
over
this
me,
like
but
small
I'm just not
variation
going
in
to you.
DNA or whatever, that still admits that there's difference like genetically or DNA between races, and that I'm gonna show you the
There's
rest of it now.
differences genetically. Yeah, there's differences genetically
Just the rest.
between races, but whether genetic differences between two things actually constitutes there being some natural kind in which we can group these two things and say that this group is going to have XYZ qualities essentially, and the other group is going to have XYZ qualities essentially different. Obviously, everybody trivially grants that there are genetic differences between the races. Whether this gets you to
Sure,
race
so that
realism,
means
whether this
race
is actually
realism
evidence
exists.
race realism is different.
That's
What
just
did
a
you say?
great concession.
That's not a concession.
That's a great
Everybody
concession. You
grants that
said
there's
that there's
genetic
genetic
differences
difference.
between.
Yeah, everyone
Yes.
accepts race realism.
No, that's not what race realism is. Race
Okay, what do you
realism
think
is
race
making a much
realism?
stronger claim.
Yeah,
I
what
already
is race
told you what race
realism?
realism is. I already told you what race realism is, but I'll just repeat.
Just quickly
So
redefine it.
wait one sec. Race realists not only believe that there are genetic differences between races, but they believe that these genetic differences are essential to races, that these genetic differences give rise like certain or different biological categories from which you can divide the population and say this part of the population has XYZ attribute, another part of the population has, I don't know, ABC attribute. And they also believe that these categories are going to be discrete, so they're not going to be continuous.
Okay, so
And
you're
they also
just
believe that they also
you're
about
attacking a
one sec,
position
wait
that I
one sec.
never even
I'm not done. Wait one sec. Wait one sec. I'm not done. Okay. And they also believe in certain things about like heritability. So like how we like inherit certain genetics from our parents. They also believe that those types of things are discrete. So they're not going to find or there's like a very low probability that they found in other parts of the population.
Okay. So you're basically just attacking it like a completely random position that some people hold. But for what I would mean by race realism, I don't know if we should have clarified this before. There's like the genetic or like physiological difference between races, and it's not just some sort of social construct. We can talk about
Not what race
heritability or
realism.
whatever. I mean,
It's
that's
not what
completely
race
what it
realism is.
is.
Like no,
That's
like it's
literally
just
but
no, it's
like
just like
you,
no, it's
you can
literally just
completely
it's literally
you can
just
uncover the
no,
meaning
it's
of what
literally
that
just an idiosyncratic.
word.
Wait one second. It's literally just an idiosyncratic characterization of what you think it is. Like if
So
you
you
actually
think
read
it's
the
just you
literature. Wait
characterize,
one
dude?
sec. If
You're
you
so
actually
good at
wait
getting
one sec.
close. You're extremely stupid.
Wait one sec. Wait
Being
one
brave.
sec. Wait one sec. One sec. If you actually read the literature, then you'd know what people actually think race realism is or what race realism actually is. You can't get me one source which you can't get me one source which says that race realism is just the view that there are
That's
genetic
why I
differences
said we should
between
have just
races.
clarified this
No
beforehand.
source
If you
says that
think
race
that's what
realism
race
is that.
realism
If
was,
you
that's
can
just
get me
not
a
my
source,
stance on what I
I'm
think race
waiting. I'll
realism
be
is.
surprised. I'll be amused. Not just what I think what
It's
race realism is,
just
it's
some
what race
generally
realism is
accepted
in the
definition
literature.
of
It's
it.
what
That's why
people
we should have
advocate
just
for.
probably clarified beforehand.
It's not just like the generally accepted definition. That's how race realism just was defined in the literature. Like it just stipulated that it is in the literature. Like, I
Yeah,
don't
I just
know.
disagree. Like I've
I'm
talked to
just asking.
multiple
No,
people
like
about race
I'm just
realism.
asking for a source. I'm just
About
asking for a source
I've
which
talked
gives
to
your
loads of people
characterization.
about race realism. That's just not how it's generally defined.
I'm just asking for I'm just asking for a source that supports your characterization. If there's none, it's just arbitrary and idiosyncratic. I don't have time to
Yeah,
talk
you
about
can
it.
you can use big words, but it doesn't you don't start
Big words. You
smart.
think idiosyncratic and arbitrary are big words?
I don't think arbitrary is a big word. I think the other one is, but
Okay, so you
sent
think
the
idiosyncratic is a big word? You can't say the word idiosyncratic. Like, are
I
you an
can't
idiot?
say the word, but I just think you just use big words to try to sound smart. But you're incredibly stupid.
Say
But
idiosyncratic and spell it
I've
out.
talked to multiple. Like that's why I'm
Say
saying we probably
idiosyncratic
should have
and spell it
clarified.
out for me.
I've talked to multiple.
Say
What?
idiosyncratic and spell it out for me.
Idiocratic. When you spell it out to you, why is this
Do you
relevant?
want to wait? Do you want to end? You do want to end this because we might just be speaking about each other.
I mean, do you not do? Why do you not? I mean, do you not agree with my definition of like what I've the generally accepted race
Yes,
realism
you
is?
take to the case that race
Yeah,
realism is
I
this.
think
And
wait, let me clarify.
I'm pointing to literature and I'm pointing to other
Wait,
sources
chill
which
out, chill out. Wait,
non-arbitrarily give a definition of what race realism is.
Yeah, I'm not. This is
So
not arbitrary,
you can
but
conclude.
by what I'm talking about for race realism
You
is
think
that
it's
this
not
genetic
arbitrary?
and physiological. Okay, can I finish my point? He's talking over someone while you're losing. It's pretty crazy, but do you want me to
While I'm
clarify what
losing,
I
wait,
like?
can you explain how I'm losing?
Do you want me to get the definition, or do you want to keep like running off the point?
I just told you to give me the source. Give me at least one source which defines race realism in the way that you just defined it.
Okay, I
That
still don't need to
race
do
realism
that,
is just
but
the view
you
that
don't.
there are genetic
But
differences between races.
this is what I'm saying here. I'm just gonna explain it since you're you're just being stupid. But what race realism was, if for whatever reason I might have misunderstood it, which I don't think I did, but if you think I did, there's difference like physiologically and genetically through the races, and it's not some sort of social construct.
And I'm asking you to get
That's
me one source which defines it in this way. Like, is it that hard? Like, it's just clearly not what race realism is. Like, again, like this is some like surface level definition that you think that you've been able to like deduce, like really understand. But if you actually go inside the literature and if you actually read one piece or like one paper on race realism,
okay.
then you'd be able to
Sure,
like
I
understand that this is
Google race
not how race
realism.
realism
I
is
Google race
characterized.
realism. I Google race realism. It's the belief that humans are divided into distinct biological races which inherit different traits like intelligence. And then whenever you read down more, it says this perspective often includes the claim that there are significant genetic determined differences like intelligence, personality, and physical traits among racial groups, which is exactly what I was speaking about.
Okay, so you think that's the proper characterization of race realism?
I mean, you asked me for a source, and it's literally the first Google result.
I'm saying, do you think that's the proper characterization, or do
I'm
you
on
just
to
think that
do.
that's a source that people use?
Yeah, obviously I
Okay,
agree
if
with
that's the
the
proper
characterization.
characterization, if you think that's the proper characterization, then what I was saying earlier about what race realism is and how my argument actually succeeds against race realism would still follow. Because if they believe that, because what I was saying is simply just maybe like a more philosophically apt definition or philosophically apt way of saying what they're saying, which is that you can divide populations into biological taxa and say that these biological taxa have certain intrinsic traits which other biological taxa won't have, and you can differentiate them as like different natural kinds, which are just essential properties between those genetic clusters. And
Is this literally is
basically,
anything what you said relevant? Is there any actual disagreement between the definitions now?
just told you that it's just a more philosophically apt characterization. So what I was saying
Cool.
earlier,
Okay, do you want
the
to?
evidence I was giving, wait one sec, the evidence I was giving earlier would still follow through. Like the evidence and the arguments I was giving earlier would still follow through. Unless you think
Okay,
that
I
there's
just
like
disagree with it.
a
Okay, I just
distinction
disagree
between
with that.
my, unless you think
Wait,
there's a distinction between, unless you think there's a distinction between my characterization and the characterization that you read off the
yeah.
source.
Yeah, no, it's completely different. You just asked for it. You argued with me that mine is different, and then you asked for a source, and now you're saying it's the same. You just completely hedged because you know you're
I
a
said that
retard.
the
But
one that the
I'll show
source
the
gave, wait one
physiological.
sec. I said that the one that the
I'll show
source
the
gave
physiological
was the
differences.
same as mine. I'm
Okay,
saying that the one that
wait,
you
just
articulated was
yeah.
not the same as mine. And the one that
This
you
is literally
articulated
not
is not the
relevant.
same as the source.
Okay, I'm
No,
gonna
but you
send the
just misinterpreted
physiological
the claim I was
differences
making.
and end it. We
No, you
can.
just
I'll send the
misinterpreted.
physiological differences, and then we can end it.
You just misinterpreted the claim I was making.
Nice whisper, but if I
I said you were misinterpreting the claim I was making, if you heard that.
yeah. I mean, you can believe that, but why is speed pinging me?
After what
Wait,
you
wait a
said,
second.
he
Wait a
said
second.
you said you're a bitch. I can't lie.
Wait, give me a second. I mean, he's losing horribly, but wait, what did I get pinged in? Okay, speed.
Yeah, I don't know.
Speed just
He's
okay. This dude pings me. Why can I not hedge? Okay, I'm gonna block you, speed. Okay, looking the goat, Kaido. I just got hard from that, but yeah. Yeah, sure. You can read on what I said, but yeah, they just have smaller cranial cavities. Their like skulls are less developed. Their brains are less developed. They have less cranial function, um, less neurons, whatever. That's just basic physiological differences between them. Hello, Rizzhan?
Yeah, reading.
Yo,
Yeah, like this.
just give me a
This has
minute.
no relevance. This has no relevance. But this has no relevance to both the definition that you give and the definition that I give. Like it just has
It
no
does
relevance.
because it's
Like
physical.
unless you think that. Wait, unless wait one sec. Unless you think
Explain why.
that. Wait one sec. Wait one sec. One sec. One sec. Unless you think that like you can bridge the gap between us now being able to like make certain biological classifications and real biological classifications and meaningful biological classifications off of there
This is
being
jargon. This is complete
physiological.
jargon.
How is it jargon?
What you're saying
You
is
don't
complete
understand a
jargon.
physiological
Okay, well,
classification.
why
Wait, you don't understand
why,
us. Wait, one sec. You
why,
don't
dude,
understand us
you
seeing a
don't
property.
understand this
Wait, one
term,
sec.
dude.
You
You
don't
don't
understand
understand
us
this
seeing a
term.
property. You
Dude,
don't
you don't
understand us
understand
seeing a
this
property
term.
and then making
Dude,
classifications of the
nobody
property.
actually cares.
That's
You're
what
losing
racism
form.
is doing.
Okay, why
Racism
I
is
asked
seeing a property that
not
certain
real.
people have, and then they're making a classification off of that property. And you need
This
to
is
bridge
listen,
that gap.
bro,
You can't
wait, give me a
just say that
second.
because they have a property, now it
Wait,
means that we
give me
can
a
now
second.
actually make
Turn my
real
mic on so I can
classes
speak.
of the peoples that have that property. I just
Give me a
assume race
second. I'm
realism
gonna
is
turn my
true. It
mic
just
on so I can
assumes what
speak.
you're trying to be proved. You can turn your mic up. I don't care. Like you could, I literally do not care. Like I'm
I
not even
speak
trying to
over
loud
you now.
mic you because I'm literally on 60.
What?
I'm literally on 60.
Mugiwara.
Unless you think that us seeing the property means that we can actually make real classifications off of that property, then you need to give some more substantiation for why this
Hello?
actually
Am I
leads to race
audible?
realism, or why this actually
Am I
evidence for race
audible?
realism.
Hello? Am I audible? Hello?
Understand that nobody disagrees that there's physical differences between the two.
Wait, Rizzhan, can you hear
We're
me?
arguing whether those physical differences constitute real
Hello, can you hear
biological
me?
categories by which we can sort
Hello?
people of this population into these
Can you hear
categories, which
me?
aren't just like errors of us talking, like
Can
errors
someone
of
ping
us
me if I'm
missing
audible or is
views.
this guy just yapping?
We'll see racial constructivists or race constructivists are just going to be saying that the categories that we group
Is he
people into
rambling or am I just
aren't
not
Guys,
audible?
real in the sense of the
am I
race realists
audible?
want to say that they're real.
Am I audible, guys? Hi, guys. Am I audible?
Race
So I
constructivist is
am
going
being
to grant
heard.
that there are these categories.
Yeah.
The race constructivist is going to grant that there are these categories. They just believe that these categories are constructed, that they don't
Cool, dude.
pre-exist the
Okay,
human mind.
let me give the
Wait,
argument
so can
now.
you prove that these
Because you just
categories
speak
pre-exist
for
the human mind? Wait,
no.
can you prove that these categories pre-exist
This
the
is
human
not
mind?
relevant. You asked me a question. I'm gonna respond to actual relevant question, bud.
Wait, can you prove that these
How this
categories
first race
pre-exist the human
okay.
mind?
You asked me a question. Now you're not gonna let me respond because you know you're losing. Bud.
Prove that these categories pre-exist the
How
human
this
mind. Like, can you
justifies for
do
the
that?
race? How this
These
justifies
categories
race
pre-exist
realism
the
if
human
you
mind.
apply the definitions of
These categories
okay.
pre-exist the human mind.
He asked me a
These
question and he just
categories
doesn't let me
pre-exist the human mind.
respond.
Prove that these
You can.
categories pre-exist the human mind. Prove
Am I gonna be able to?
that
Am I
these
gonna be able to
categories
speak?
pre-exist the human mind.
Am I gonna be able to
Prove
speak
that
now?
these categories pre-exist the human mind. I'm asking you to
Okay.
prove
Are
something.
you gonna let me respond to this? This is a terrible like last ditch effort because you know you're
If you're just gonna
losing.
keep rambling, if you're just gonna keep rambling, then no, you're not
I
going to
didn't
be able to
even
respond.
speak.
Sorry.
I didn't even
You
speak,
keep
and you're
rambling about
talking
stuff
over
that
me.
doesn't
You keep
relevant to
chimping
what I
out.
said.
This is just the
You
average
didn't
black
speak. You're
person.
not
They
going to
just start
speak,
chimping
man.
out they just start chimping out whenever they start losing.
Start pimping out whenever they start losing. You are losing. Nobody thinks you're winning.
Yeah, nobody thinks I'm winning, dude. Okay, can I
Nobody.
respond to the point before you overspeak me now?
Nobody thinks you're winning. We can conclude.
Sachi Buridana.
Yo, I'm not racist. That was a joke. That was a joke. I'm not racist. That was a joke. That was a joke. That was a very obvious joke. Okay, can I respond to the point before you cut me off?
We all know you're racist.
Yeah, I'm so racist. I'm so racist, dude. Yeah, sure. How this justifies my like definition of race realism is that by what I posted, it's talking about physical traits among racial groups. I clarified my position multiple times. How that actually justifies my position.
physical traits which
Okay.
constitute real
How does
categories,
just
not just
okay?
constitute categories. You would understand that we can make inferences from real
I
traits to
literally can't
categories
even
which are then
speak.
non-real.
I can't even
Yes, you
speak
can't
here.
speak because you're saying
If you're
saying
not gonna let me
stuff.
speak, we can and dude,
You're
if you're not
saying
gonna let me speak,
incoherent
we
stuff.
can
You're
just stop
shadowboxing,
talking.
you're jabbing, you're
Dude,
dancing away,
we can end.
you're
You're
prancing away
losing.
from
Well,
the
if you want to
world.
end this, we can end this, dude. If you're just not
Yeah,
gonna
okay,
respond,
bet we
let me
can end this.
respond.
I'll save if you want me to
Okay.
save rec, I'll save rec, bet.
Sure, you can save the rack. You lost horribly.
Yeah. Wait, get one person in the VC who thinks I left horribly.